Hi everyone, just a quick note before the video. This was recorded about a year ago, which means some of the numbers and some of the dates are going to be not up to date. However, the message of the video and the point of the video is still exactly the same, which is why I'm releasing it right now. So with that said, please enjoy the rest of the video. So I remember back in 2015 or 2016, I used to do this thing in my free time called a Bitcoin faucet. Basically, the way it worked was that I would just fill out a CAPTCHA once every couple hours and I would just get a bunch of free Bitcoin. I remember I did this for a couple of weeks and I managed to get maybe $3 worth of Bitcoin. And this was back in 2015. So when Bitcoin exploded, those $3 became something like 40 bucks, which isn't terrible and took me zero effort. So recently I remembered that faucets existed and I wanted to see what's up with them in 2020. Do they still exist? Can you actually make free money out of them? So I went and looked for a new faucet to try out, and these are my results. So first of all, when looking for a cryptocurrency faucet to try out, I first looked at Bitcoin faucets, obviously, since Bitcoin is the most well-known cryptocurrency. And actually, none of the websites I used back in the day are still up. That's a terrible omen for cryptocurrency faucets. That just means that they don't last too long. And I got annoyed really quickly at a bunch of Bitcoin faucets that I was finding because they were all more complicated than just filling out a CAPTCHA. Now they would just make you watch entire ads and open a bunch of new pop-ups. Even though I had ad blocker on, that wouldn't even work. It was terrible and I got so annoyed at them and I was getting zero money out of it. So I just gave up and I started thinking about other altcoins. So while searching for different cryptocurrency faucets, I actually ended up committing to two of them, which were free apps on the Google Play Store. So one of them is called Free Litecoin, and the other one, by the same makers, is called Free Bitcoin Cash. So I wasn't getting any free Bitcoin, but I was still getting free other coins. So I decided to stick with these two apps for one entire month and then see just how much money I earned. So the way these faucets work is that they give you something called a Satoshi, which is the smallest unit of Bitcoin. 100 million Satoshis is what makes up a Bitcoin. So it's funny that a lot of these faucets are giving you 1,000 Satoshis at a time, but that's actually not worth that much when you consider just how many Satoshis you need to make up one Bitcoin or one Litecoin or one Bitcoin Cash. So it's really funny because in some of these faucets, you would see numbers like you won 7,000 Satoshis, but that's actually not much money. But I was trying this faucet experiment for science, so I decided to stick to it for an entire month and see how viable a faucet is in 2020. So the way these apps work is basically you have sort of a spin the wheel scenario going on, and you can spin the wheel and get a certain amount of Latoshis or Bitcoin Cash Satoshis, and you can watch some ads to get even more spins on higher chances of getting more of those. However, most of the time getting the very high rewards that are advertised, which is 100,000 Latoshis or Bitcoin Cash Satoshis, are actually not very likely. So it's not even worth it most of the time to get more spins. And you can only do these spins once every hour, of course. So of course they're going to limit your earnings. And of course you can't do this when you're sleeping, when you're out, if you left your cell phone at home, if you're doing something that requires your concentration for a long period of time. So I was forgetting to do this all the time because I'm not on my cell phone all the time. But regardless, for the entire month of April 2020, I kept reminding myself to please check my phone so I can spin those sweet, sweet Latoshis and Satoshis and get all that free money. And after one entire month of just spinning the wheel and finally cashing out by the end of the month, the grand total that I made was 60 cents. That's right, 0.6 US dollars after a whole month of just tapping and spinning the wheel. I got 30 cents of Litecoin and 30 cents of Bitcoin Cash right to my cryptocurrency wallet. So yeah, just like back then, the payouts are absolutely minuscule. And actually, even if Bitcoin Cash or Litecoin explode to 10 times their value, I'm only going to get, what, $3 out of it rather than 30 cents? Even if I did this on both platforms for an entire year, I could make maybe $8 worth of Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. Plus, faucets automatically adjust to the value of cryptocurrency. So if cryptocurrencies go up in value, your payouts in the faucets are going to be less. And if they go down in value, you're going to get paid slightly more, but it's always really going to be equivalent to roughly the same dollar amount. So are Bitcoin faucets or cryptocurrency faucets worth your time in 2020? The answer is absolutely not. I want to think that I spent maybe 30 minutes of my time over the course of this month just going on the app, tapping, claiming my reward, and exiting out. 30 minutes of my time for 60 cents would be $1.20 per hour, which is way below minimum wage. There's a plethora of better things I could have done with those 30 minutes of my time, and I will not be repeating that exercise again. I could have read a book in those 30 minutes. I could have called family in those 30 minutes. I could have worked those 30 minutes for pay. Want to know a much quicker way to get some easy money? If you sign up for Webull and deposit $100 or more, you get 2 free stocks that can be worth up to $1,400. That is way more than any cryptocurrency faucet will ever give you in your life. Plus, Webull is coming out real soon with cryptocurrency trading capabilities. So if you really have the itch to trade crypto or to learn more about crypto, now is your chance. It just shows that there's a lot of better ways, including Webull, to make some really easy money that's going to take way less time. So if you want to sign up for Webull, there's a link down in the description, and you can now enjoy one of the better platforms I've ever experienced for trading. Now I want you to tell me about your experience either with cryptocurrency faucets or any other scam-free money methods, because the more we all know about them, the more we can know to avoid them and not waste our time on them. So comment down below, tell me more. I will read every comment and reply to every single comment. So let me know, and I'll see you on the next one.